Howdy y'all, I thought I'd make this video. Yes, if you saw my short, I am a sad sack, as I want to say it. And I do believe I have a boring and dull life, but I like YouTube because YouTube is something that when I was younger, we didn't really have back in the AOL days of Windows 95. So I think it's kind of cool. I can look up anything I want on YouTube for a video to watch. Like recently I was watching one where they were restoring a camper conversion Ford truck, and if you're familiar with what those are from the 70s and prior, I don't know if they did it in the 80s, but I know they did it, I believe, in predominantly the 60s and 70s, maybe even earlier. I know some people made homemade versions, but I believe these were a factory conversion kit you could buy, and was mostly by Champion and Palco. I've never owned one, but I've seen them before on YouTube, and somebody was trying to get one of those running. It was basically an F-250 Ford with a mated to a Palco camper, turned into like a kind of hot roddy looking RV. And anyways, I think stuff like that is cool. I love watching old trucks, old tractors, stuff like that. Yeah, I may have a dull life, but it's fun watching YouTube because there's so many cool things. And that's why I was excited about finally getting my YouTube account back, because my old phone died and I couldn't get all my data back, so I had to mess with that. Plus, back in my day, we didn't really have these kinds of phones. Heck, I remember landlines and sending letters in the mail. So to me, this is kind of interesting. I wouldn't say that I'm in love with the internet and all it's about, but I do have an interest in it, because it's interesting to think that now we have this kind of stuff that we can watch on devices, versus back then this wouldn't have been a thought. Heck, I remember my first cell phone being a brick flip phone, all black, AT&T with a fold out antenna and a black plastic flip, and all it was buttons. And who remembers pagers? That's going way back, having a pager. I never personally had one because I was just a kid, but if y'all remember pagers, they were a thing. Actually, I think they were still kind of used up into my high school years, mid 2000s to late 2000s, but they were definitely a thing when I was a kid in the 90s. A lot of companies had pagers for their employees. My dad had one for where he worked. So, that's why I think YouTube is interesting. But I also got some other things to say. And for one is that I am so glad, because I finally got the pesky front tire fixed on the Ford. That was a blunder on my behalf, but finally that Ford tractor has all 4 tires aired up, and I should have just went to the place I went to as well, though, because they're equipped to work on farm tires and stuff. So thank goodness I got it done. I'm so happy. Man. It's just, my God. That, I'm glad to be done with that. Accidentally snapped one of the lug nuts. Yeah, you're probably asking, how do you do that? I overreefed it. Blunder. Mechanic blunder. It happens sometimes, but it was only one, and I think it'll be fine. Someday I'll replace the stud and nut. But for now, I think we're just going to roll with it. But that, and also, what else was I going to say? I think that was about it. Oh, updates on Maggie. Maggie the caravan. Now that we got the tire fixed. Now I just got to save up so I can get the leaf springs for Maggie and the rear brake parts to get that all buttoned up in the rear. And then I'll just have to focus on the front of the van. Also, not as important, but the spray paint to do the cosmetics on the rear axle for the van, which that has nothing really to do with the mechanical side, and I can do that really at any point. Spray paint's inexpensive. I've been using the machinery gray primer as the paint that I'm going to be using from the auto store that I've been using to repaint everything on the underside, because I just think it'll be cooler. And it's not that I don't care about that, it's not a big concern. I just want to make sure that all the rusty parts look presentable and decent. If I'm going in it, I might as well do the whole 9 yards and really go to town and make it look good. The paint job and the outer body work is where it's going to really matter to me the most when I get to that point. But also I want to make updates on the truck, because I am further along on the truck, the 62 GM, that I believe I made I made a post about, and I think it was on here, that somebody, even though I had sold my Model A pickup to fund my van, had to impulse $200. That's $100 for the truck and $100 to get it home on flatbed, not far from my house, for a 62 GMC that looks like an utter rot box. But I had to save the truck, and I do plan on doing body work to it, and I think, as I believe I've stated in videos before, this will help advance my skills in body work, and also get me some welding skills, so when I do the body work on my van, I'll be a lot better. And that's why this truck is like a trial and error, because I do know the basics of making body panels and stuff like that, and Bondo and everything, but I just don't know how to weld. I never have. I wish I had taken a welding class in high school, but I never got around to it. And so my brother's going to show me how to weld, because he's pretty experienced, the one that's still living. Thank goodness I'm blessed for family members like that, because that's going to come in handy with doing my van. But obviously I'm not going to be doing many mechanical things to the truck, because my van will be coming first on the mechanicals, because I plan on making that a daily until the truck is on the road. And then I may end up, once I get the truck on the road, which will be afterwards, because it needs a lot more, I may make that a daily and just keep, like I said, keep my van as a enjoyment hobby, because that's what I really want to do, is make my van my hobby vehicle and have that one daily that gets me to a job. Because even though I'm starting my own farm, I'm still going to maintain a job, because obviously there's no way I could afford to keep a farm running and without a job, I just don't see it feasible. So that's why I'm trying to get work where I can. Anyways, what else was I gonna say? I think that's about it. So yeah, my short may have sounded like someone who was hooked on the internet, but quite honestly, I think YouTube is an interesting concept, because, like I said, when I grew up, we didn't have this kind of stuff. So when I first learned about Facebook in like the late 2000s, okay, I'm a late bloomer to the Facebook, because I'm sure it was around slightly longer than that. It was interesting to me, because it was cool that you could have a way to socialize without having to ensure that you were home for the landline, or other than sending letters, which you couldn't guarantee would get to the people right off, because mail takes time. But at the same token, I do miss those days. I'm not going to lie, because I feel like it was a lot simpler back then, when you had letters and landlines and not all these fancy geegogs. But at the same token, I do see the convenience in having Facebook and having YouTube to create content so people can watch stuff. And if you know me, my content is free, always will be, never will be a money grab. I don't plan on making it big. I have no ideals to become a big famous YouTuber. If I say I haven't really looked at my subscriber thing lately to see how many have added on, I admit, but I try to keep track of all of y'all and subscribe to your channels just to show my support, because you're supporting my channel by viewing, listening, whatever. So I try to spread my support back. But I haven't really, actually, what I should say is looked at the number or calculated how many subs I have. And so if I say I only have 200 subs by the end of my life, and being on YouTube, or the end of the time I spend on YouTube, I should say, so be it. I mean, that's 200 more subs than I ever expected to have, you know? And I'm grateful for what I do get, because like I said, I don't care if I stay a small YouTube channel, because I'm not looking to make money, and I'm not looking to make my YouTube channel 100% perfect, because I don't want to have to keep up with the video schedules and all that stuff, and keep track of all this, and then also go begging for handouts from people, because I need money to keep my YouTube going at a regular this, or that. And as you know me, I am very sporadic with my YouTube videos. And that's the way I want to maintain it, because I don't want to have to guarantee that if I'm having a bad day or something like that, I'm going to be automatically on YouTube. I think a lot of people do YouTube when they're having a mental health day, but I feel like that's slightly unhealthy in some ways, because you're essentially... It's good to know that there's probably people who can sympathize with you, but at the same token, is that really helping your mental health by filling yourself with social media? Is that really going to make your mind go, oh, well, this has made me feel better? This is maybe for some, but not for all, in my opinion, and that's just my opinion. But there are times where I have mental health days where I'm not afraid to make videos. And yeah, I'm going to be honest with y'all. You may see me try to be as happy as possible in most videos, even though every once in a while I have a kind of like lower vibe video. But you're only seeing the surface level of me, so if you're watching something of mine and you're saying, oh, well, this person is happy all the time, that's because you're seeing the surface, the thing I want you to see, and not what I don't want you to see, you know? And that goes for most people on YouTube. So just to clarify that. So for those of you who commented on my short about like how sad you thought it was that I was excited about being back on, and I made the joke the two Ubes instead of calling it what it actually is. And yes, I do know how to pronounce YouTube. It was a joke. I am kind of intrigued to be back, because it's nice to be able to have something that I can at least enjoy and watch a little bit. And I'm not saying I don't enjoy YouTube, and I'm not saying that I enjoy YouTube. I'm just saying that it's semi-enjoyable a little bit in whatever way it can be, because it's YouTube. And at the end of the day, I realize it's not like it was when I was a kid, but it's still cool. So you know what I mean? But yeah, I guess that's enough of a rant on that. And yes, I did put up the short because I was pretty excited that I finally got my phone fixed, because if you know anything about cell phones, how annoying they can be, trust. And I am about as illiterate to cell phones, on contrary to what you might think. I know basics and I know my way around cell phones pretty well, but there's a lot of things I don't know about cell phones. And I was so worried I was going to lose all my data from my old phone because it was completely dead. And I couldn't figure out how to get it back. But thankfully, I was able to log into an account because they made it easier now. And recapture everything that I thought I had lost. So, thank goodness. I had to re-download all the apps I had for all the social medias that I'm on that correlate to my YouTube. Just because I've wanted to have a few social medias correlated to my YouTube. So that way I could have different avenues for people to reach me if they needed to at all. For whatever reason. Because, as I've stated in my past videos, I'm no therapist by any means. I have studied psychology a little bit, but I've never been a commercial therapist. I will never tell you I am, but if somebody wanted to reach out to me in confidence and felt they needed to get some stuff off their chest that they wanted to talk about within reason with me, I'm more than willing to listen because I've been through things and maybe brighten up somebody's day with my words. That's why I keep that stuff. Or just want to reach out in general and say how much you enjoy my content or whatever you think I can do differently with my content. Because I do want to improve my content in a way, don't get me wrong. I want to put decent content out. I just don't want to have to be held to a schedule of a weekly video or twice weekly video like all the ones that are making money off of YouTube do. So anyways, YouTube folks, sorry that was my dad. I will catch you in the next video, and I am signing off for now. As always, keep your heads up, stay strong, all that kind of jazz. Have an excellent time, wherever you are, wherever it is, you know the deal. I'm blank spacing on that one. Whatever it is, wherever you are. That's what I mean to say. And as always, the like, comment, and subscribe thing. Only if you want to. No obligation. I'm an obligation-free zone. And as always, sunshine, unicorns, and rainbows. And I will see you in the next one. And I am signing off.